Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'll give everybody an opportunity to know live. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's edition of the Contractors Conversation. Contractors Conversation is designed to be that up-level conversation around government contracting. Excuse me. We discuss all things government contracting, legislation, appropriations. We just designed to be that mature conversation around government contracting. We go beyond where do you find the contracts and how to win a contract. We go more behind the strategy and what's going on in the industry that can impact you as a business owner and a contractor. I'm your host, Luciana Turner, and um, welcome. I have been in government contracting, all inclusive, including my around 21 years. Um, so, as you enter the room, say hello. Like this, like and share. And if you find this information useful, if you have a colleague that you believe find this information useful, share it with them. We're quick to share jokes, we're quick to share gossip, but we're not quick to share actionable information that could mean the difference between business success and business failure. So, share, like, and follow my channel on Instagram if you're watching on Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, LT&A, Contractor Conversation. I held master classes. I plan to do at minimum a quarterly master class next year, and they will solely be on YouTube. So you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to be in the know about my master classes. So if you missed the registration, you at least get notified when I go live there. Excuse me, my asthma's acting up and I have so much going on. Uh, Yesterday, we had a lovely conversation about cybersecurity, and actually, it kind of started off talking about how I had to change my passwords on Facebook, and I forgot, and I couldn't go live on Facebook yesterday because I forgot I changed my password, and I didn't change them on my streaming platform. And then we segued into, the hackers and the implication for the government. And if they're attacking the regular person the way they are, because the common consensus on the live was they're just out there and they're notorious. If they're attacking us like that, you can imagine what they're doing to the government. And then we went to a conversation around zero trust and where that evolved from. Now, I did say that I was going to come back with some security recommendations actually reached out to mine. He is an IT specialist and he's an IT specialist in the government. I'm waiting for him to come back with some cybersecurity recommendations because that's not my wheelhouse. And I don't want to share information that is not accurate. So when he comes back to me, I will bring that information onto the platform. I will also next year, but it will when it's done, I'll have it up. And next year, the part of my website, I will have contractors' recommendations on my website. So you can go there and you can see where I've recommended things, where the recommendations for reading, sources, excuse me, different things. Now, my recommendations are just that, recommendations. You still have to do your due diligence and vet these companies, if it's a company, or vet these services and see how they fit and integrate into your business. You have not hired me as your coach, so therefore I cannot, excuse me, I cannot say that these services or how these services fit into your business. I'm just saying that the services or solutions that I'm recommending on this platform are, are services and solutions that contractors need at a bare minimum need to consider in their business, and then you need to go forth and do your due diligence and your research. I wanted to actually went live late this morning. New COVID mandates or some expanded COVID mandates, which I found to be very interesting. I heard a conversation yesterday. I heard somebody actually tell a room of government contractors that there were ways to get around the mandate and they didn't have to worry about getting the vaccine if they didn't want to and still do government contracting. My piece of advice for to you is if you are opposed to obtaining the vaccine and you cannot obtain a medical exemption, I would have a conversation with the contracting officer. If you're answering an RFP, you can actually ask this question as a part of the question phase of the RFP around religious exemption and the COVID mandate. I would be a little cautious of taking advice that says you can get out. I know you can legally do it. I'm a little skeptical of what I heard in that particular conversation, which is why I will say you are responding to RFP. do not wish to obtain vaccine, if you are unvaccinated and your status is solely based upon you don't want to get it, then that is a question you need to ask as a part of the pre-bid process. On the state level, various states have to that before, and because it's an ever evolving situation, I'm quite sure I'll be covering it until this situation is over. Some states are taking the viewpoint, most states, from what I'm seeing, is taking a viewpoint as long as you're not on government property, they don't care. So if the work can be done off-site, their stance is they don't care if you're vaccinated or not. You're off-site, off problem. Assign, as long as the work gets done. If you are working on a government site, read your RFP. I don't think anybody tells you what the RFP will always guide the conversation. It will up in court, and it will. If the RFP is vague or silent, then you need to ask the question. Do not assume. If the document is silent, then you need to ask expensive. An assumption can create in the discussion does not say exemptions are granted. If the document or the RFP does not say exemptions or testing, weekly testing, or whatever, to ask the question and seek clarification. Because when they release these documents, seeing the government push back and say, we feel that. So, once again, understand they're being held, telling people entering the government contracting world that there are exemptions and the mandates do not apply to everybody. What I'm telling you is you need to follow the guidance of your because that is the governing decider. I don't care what anybody tells you, what position they claim they hold, who their mama best friend is the president's chauffeur's cousins, boyfriends, best friend. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's what does the art a great job of covering its behind by codifying its intent. The executive order is out there. OSHA is issuing, its own set of rules to comply with what the executive order couldn't cover. DOD has issued 2 sets of guidance so far. That's why I was late going live this morning. Then I'm gonna go back and read once I get off live. It just, and as this evolves, because this is an ever evolving situation, until we get to a point where I don't even know how to put this. I don't even think it's over. How they declare it over. This is going to be a topic of conversation that everybody's going to have. But it's a topic of conversation. So I know I will cover it again. But your governing document is your RFP. Your contracting officer is your primary source. I don't care what anybody else tells you. If the document is silent, or if the document mentions it but doesn't go into detail, it is up to you to ask the question. Most states have issued guidance that's pretty straightforward and clear. There just seems to be some ambiguity on the federal level. And I don't even think there's ambiguity on the federal level. I think there are people who are interpreting the mandate the way they want to interpret it, and it's going to cause people to go down a disastrous road. Um, that is also where you need to attend and participate, quite frankly, in platforms like this. There are a couple of webinars coming out being held by several government contracting law firms. And you need to be on those webinars. I'm not opposed. I will, as they come forward and I learn about it with enough lead time, I will let you know. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. So I will gladly tell you a law firm is having a webinar and that you need to attend it because you need legal guidance, not somebody's opinion. You need legal guidance at this time. And if you don't want to take the advice of an attorney at this time, fine. If you want to hear it and say, I don't want to follow it, that's fine too. As business owners, at the end of the day, that is what we do. We hear advice, we weigh it against our business models, and ultimately our inner compass, if that's what you want to call it, and decide which way we're going to go, and then move and adjust accordingly. With that said, join me tomorrow morning as I come back with tomorrow's edition of Contractors Chatter. At 8:15 a.m. I am Luciana Turner. I am your host. Take some time today. There's some beautiful weather across this country.